what makes the United States great, the reason people want to live in the United States, move here still, is because of our ability to innovate. This goes back to Ben Franklin and Thomas Alva Edison and George Washington Carver, let alone landing on the moon, Neil Armstrong. All these people believed in science.
Scientists should not debate creationists. Right there, they're saying, if you're a creationist, you can't be a scientist.
Right.
And you see, that is a misrepresentation. And we need to deal with that. That's the way they indoctrinate students. You know, if you're a creationist, you're not a scientist. You know, it's science versus the Bible. It's scientists versus creationists.
Right.
And so, first of all, we want to be able to help people understand there are lots of scientists who are creationists, biblical creationists. And so that's the first thing we need to deal with in regard to that. Second is, you know, when they say it'll give us a platform, see, that's what they don't want. There's been an incredible censorship in the public schools in America, in fact, around the world, but particularly in America, where students aren't even allowed to critically think about evolution or the issue of origins. They're not allowed to hear other points of view. They're taught incorrectly about science and taught that evolution is fact. And really, there's legislation to protect the teaching of evolution in schools. If evolution is so easy to see, I mean, if it's so obvious, if we are so obviously wrong, why would they be afraid for people to hear what we've got to say?
Right.
What would it matter? They do not want people hearing this information because they know as soon as they hear this information, many people will start to think carefully, think for themselves, think critically, go check it out and find out that evolution is simply not true and not possible.
Right.
But you do know,
this is bad for kids.
But Bill, now you do know not everybody feels this way. The latest statistics show that many people believe, 46% believe that God created man, 32% believe that humans evolved with God's guidance, and only 15% believe in evolution alone. Can you see another side, why people feel the way they do?
Well, as I say, you can believe what you want religiously. The religion is one thing, but science, provable science, is something else. I really want to emphasize, I'm not attacking anybody's religion. I'm not attacking anybody's religion. I'm not attacking anybody's religion.
This is really a self-defense mechanism the brain uses to protect the ego. No one likes to admit when they're wrong, much less admit that they have been fooled. So it is infinitely easier to deny a truth rather than it is to embrace it. It is easier to mock than debate. It is easier to hide under the sheets and pretend that there is not a monster in the room. This is where most of our society is stuck right now. They believe that whatever the authorities tell them is the truth. They go along with the crowd in fear of being looked upon as strange or crazy. In my experience, denial comes in two forms. First is the most common and least dangerous form of denial. It is just not wanting to know the truth that might upset their happy little life. This innocent denial of ignorance is bliss mentality is held by so many Americans who think that things are going swell for them, so why ruin it with the truth? As long as people believe in absurdities, they will continue to commit atrocities. Voltaire. The second kind of denial is one that is much more pernicious. I view it as guilty denial. This is the denial of people who are actually benefiting off of the illusion of our paradigm. These people actively fight against the truth through disinformation or saying they just can't keep it a secret or that's just crazy conspiracy talk. They would rather create a plausible deniability to distance themselves from the reality of their actions or inactions. Their aggressive defense of the illusion shows me that they know what they are doing is wrong. They are too afraid to live outside of this paradigm, so it is better to try to hold it together despite its human costs.
People usually answer, well, we know why they're suppressing us, because they know full well if we have a chance to present the case to students, who's going to win? Who's going to be convinced of evolution? If they see both sides, I would say 95% or least of the students would be convinced for the creation worldview as opposed to the Darwinian worldview.